morning from a cold, chilly Madrid. I just had to buy a toque because we have no clothes. Yeah, I'm literally wearing my shirt that I had in my carry-on bag and then an extra shirt
and I'm wearing my airplane clothes with a few layers over top.
So we're just trying to stay warm right now. But we're heading off for a walking tour with Strawberry Tours, I think it is. You'll see their umbrellas up with strawberries. So we're gonna do a free walking tour and then do a little tour around the city and then go check out some sights and just enjoy 24 hours in Madrid. Well, we have tomorrow too, kind of, but 24 hours in Madrid. I need all the more tapas again. So it's a cold morning, so we're starting the day off strong.
I thought it was hot chocolate.
So this is basically a cup of just like melted chocolate, and then it's like a churro in here, and you dip your churro in the chocolate. So that face in the middle of the triangle up there is actually one of the original architects of the palace, and
they had two. He wanted this palace, basically this king, nobody would give him money for a palace, and then he went on vacation like 30 years later and burnt the palace down, but nobody said it was him. And then he got two architects to help him, and he asked, one was old and one was young, and he's like, can you build a better one? And the old guy's like, no. And the young guy is like, yeah, I could do it. So then they cut his hands off so he couldn't. And then he's like, but I love you, like I don't want you to suffer. And then they were, and he's like, well, like I still could make plans or whatever. So then they took his eyes and his tongue out, and then he's like, felt really bad. So they're like, well, you can live here forever and I'll take care of you. That was a good time to get guilty. And then he died of an infection. So they made a statue of his face with no eyes and no tongue. You're gonna walk into a pool. Ah!
Yeah, the history here is really cool with the palace. We're gonna probably try and go into it tomorrow. We're gonna see the change in the guards tomorrow too. But I find royal history always so interesting. Always full of
that,
people
like,
killing everybody.
Crazy amount of money and like what you can do with money and power.
Yeah. So this guy is basically known as the palace. Sorry, this is known as basically the Cathedral of Madrid. And then right across from it, this is the entrance to the palace. So really super cool because right here you can basically see like the history of Madrid as a whole. Starting from the bottom, this wall was built by the Arabic people of Morocco, and then working your way up, you've got the layer of the wall here, which was built in the Roman style, and then above that you get to the next layer of like a more modern Roman style, and then work all the way to the top. Up here there's the up before the apostles, and that's like the Habsburgs, the Austrians, and then just basically tells us the history of Madrid over the years, all sort of in one picture. Tell us more fun facts.
Okay, so it was like, it kept being taken over by different people, but then eventually it was occupied by the Muslims, and the Christians were coming to try and take it over, and they kept throwing rocks at it, and they thought God was protecting the Muslims because they're like, there's fire every night, we throw rocks, there's fire, and it turns out it's because the wall's 90% made of flint, so then it was sparking. And then there was more, and then this kid was a cat, and all these great things.
Yeah. There's this kid that was dressed in black, all black. He's a small little kid, and he basically climbed the back wall and went into where it was occupied by the Muslims, and opened the doors so the Christians could get in, so the Spanish could get in to reconquer the city. And so they called him El Gato, which is like a cat, because he was dressed in black, a little tiny little cat-looking person. And that's where the name and the nickname of people of Madrid comes from, people calling them the Gatos. So depending on how long they've been here and what generation they are, that's where the term Gato comes from. This bridge is known as Suicide Bridge. Basically when heroin came into the city of Madrid, Katie's not too thrilled about it.
Oh, I think it's darkened.
When heroin came into the city of Madrid, it became like a huge problem, and there was just a ton of suicide in the city. Basically there was at 92 at their peak, there was 24 suicides per month.
No.
What do you have to say? No, it's true.
So what happened was the country was really closed off and limited, but France was really free. And so then in 1981 they got democracy, and then it was like total freedom. And with that came the use of heroin. It was just commonplace for everyone to use it. And then that sent things down in a spiral before they realized the consequences and things got more regulated.
History of heroin.
No.
What's the moral of the story then? Don't do drugs. Just a quick little history spot here on the building. back in the day with when the king came here, they basically had to share the houses with the king. So if they had multiple floors, the one floor was for you and then other floors were for the king. And so what they do is they put all these windows at different levels, so you can't distinguish what the actual number of floors are in the building. And then when the people came here to take a survey to figure out which floor was for the king and which floor was for you, they had no idea how many floors were in here, and no one would ever answer the door, so they just left them. And there's 19 buildings like this still in Madrid. Okay, we just finished our tour, and we're getting a typical sort of lunch. Well, I am. This is a calamari sandwich, so basically just calamari in a bun.
Chorizo sandwich. She's
got chorizo, but it's really good. It tastes kind of like nothing. You can put sauce on it and stuff, but just try it like this. Cheap, €3 a sandwich, like dirt cheap. But such a good walking tour at the strawberry tours. Our guide was Rodrigo, and he was amazing. Just such interesting information, like not just like boring blah 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 history, but like all like the like sort of controversy and dark history, and really interesting. So cool. Very highly recommended. Alrighty, continuing our fun city tour. We came to the bullring, yes.
And so we made sure that it's not happening today because I do not ethically agree with it. I know it's traditional.
I went and saw one a number of years back in Sevilla. I wouldn't want to go again, but we're coming to see the bullring itself, which is right here. Plaza de Toros. So most stuff in Madrid is pretty easily accessible by foot when you're staying in the city center, but there's a few things you have to get out on a metro for. And as you can see, there's not a whole lot around here. This is like more real working people living here. But there's hotels out this way. It's just, I would recommend if you're going to stay anywhere, stay in the old town, and then you just take a 5-10 minute metro ride and you are at Plaza de Toros. So this is the inside of the arena. And they've got an event going on here later, so I think it's for New Year's, so it's closed off in the middle there. But basically on the side over there where it's sunny is called Sol. And those are the cheap seats because no one wants to sit in this direct sunlight, especially in the summer when these are held. And then that is the presidential box, and then the more expensive seats over here. Seats vary from 5 to like 150 euros. Okay, it's gonna go fight her first bull. Alrighty, we just finished the bullring tour.
It was really interesting. They kept saying that you can't understand the history of Spain without understanding bullfighting, so I think it's important that people come. And I keep eating meat even though it makes me sad, so I need to come see things like this to finally toughen up and stop eating meat.
And fun story, all the Matador costumes are like this bright sort of costume they've got different sort of intricate designs on it. And like 10 years ago I was staying in a hotel with my parents in Seville, and I saw in the lobby, I was going to a bullfight, and I saw in the lobbies all these guys wearing these goofy costumes, and I'm like, I had never seen a bullfight before, and I was like, what are these idiots dressed in? Like, this looks ridiculous. And it turns out I was staying in the hotel where all the Matadors were staying, and so there was like 20 Matadors in the lobby because I was going to the bullring before the fight, and they were all dressed up, just that's where they were staying for the night, I guess.
Such a highly respected person.
Yeah, and I never even knew, I had no idea until afterwards. I was like, oh my gosh, those are all the Matadors.
Next on the tour is the world's smallest gas station.
Ooh. It's, oh my goodness. Right here. Currently wandering Gran Via, which is like the Broadway of Madrid. It's full of stores, absolutely beautiful architecture. But we're a little overwhelmed on the shopping side of things right now from walking all day.
Yeah, the 6-story department store was a little much, but
maybe later. But if you're looking to shop, this is the place to do it. That pretty much wraps up our day. We went for some tapas tonight at a place called Tapas Mini Bar. It was Tapas Mini Bar? Right? Tapas Mini Bar. It was great. A lot of places, if you order a drink, you get some tapas alongside it. And then we ordered a few other dishes, and it was like 30 euros, and had a huge meal. It was tons of food, a few drinks. Like, it was really, really nice. Lots of good places in the old town of Madrid. A lot of like tourist trap places though too, so you gotta try and find the ones that are more local joints. And then went for a walk all the way around the city this evening. I forgot my camera though, so I didn't film any of it, but there's a lot of really nice nightlife, and the Gran Via and everything area is lit up with at this time of year they have like Christmas lights and all sorts, and it's just a really nice atmosphere around like the Royal Palace and the cathedral there. It's just beautiful. So we walked almost 14 kilometers today, so it was a good day. Tomorrow morning we're gonna spend a little more time in Madrid before we head to Marrakesh in the afternoon/evening. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe up here. Check out our most recent other videos over here, or subscribe to our other channel over here.